Start going.
Laugh, learn, and eat. Yo, Fabi on the beat. Talking leadership, making the big plays in the mortgage game through the sun and the haze. Close more deals, build your success. Time to level up and beat the stress. Get ready to laugh, learn, and eat. Laugh, learn, and eat. Your weekly seat. Let's go.
All right. Guess what, Justin? 2 days in a row, I did it. And then here it goes again. I know you, I got it, Justin. You come to Virginia, you mess with my buttons before I get in on the studio, don't you?
Sorry about that. I thought we all knew that was happening.
Because it all worked when I was like rehearsing for this like an hour ago. I'm gonna put a foot ankle on you, sir. Welcome to another edition of Laugh, Learn, and Eat with Justin. I'm his co-host, Bobby. Does that sound like a nice ring to you, Justin? What do you think? Can you see that one day? All right, Justin. I think are you able to hear me or not hear me? I am losing you, sir. All right, well, let's get on here. How are you doing? What's going on today?
Right. Good.
How's Minnesota
How about
life?
you?
How's Minnesota life?
It's beautiful, sunny, and 70 right now.
You seem distracted today. Normally, you're very on the ball.
I'm not distracted, but I got to tell you, I took my dogs for walks 3 days in a row because of you.
Oh, I'm glad your dogs will appreciate that. I'm sure of that, right?
They're so happy. They're so happy.
I mean, are they like more affectionate towards you within 72 hours?
No, but they're happier. You can tell.
No
they're
the leg?
No, they love me unconditionally, but their love is a bit more inside. I can tell.
No dry humping though, right? The leg?
No. The little guy's too small. He's only 10 pounds, so.
I always crack up when dogs do that. I don't know why. It cracks me up to this moment.
Ambition.
But I'm easily amused.
Yeah,
so look, you don't have to agree with me every time, Justin. So Justin, how'd your recruit call go last week? This is on my list to ask.
It went well. It was a in-person discovery, which I'm always thankful for that opportunity. And it was a good chance to have some tire kicking. We performed well, and everything that was looking to be discussed got discussed. So it was a good visit.
Because here's the thing, we called her after your thing.
It's a him. So.
Well, we called him.
It's a her. Just kidding.
I know it's a her, but I'm just letting you know we talked to her. And
did she say that was amazing? My life has changed.
Well, we recorded the conversation for you.
Oh no.
You can do an impression on her, obviously, because she was like tongue-tied. You
just can't wait to press those new buttons on that soundboard of yours, right? With the
I've been loading up some new stuff, my man. You have no idea. Like I prepared now for this stuff. I'm
just thankful there's no more kazoo. That's all.
No, it's still here. It's still don't short self yourself just yet. It's where is he? He's not going anywhere for a long time, Justin. In fact, you know what? This kazoo, so you talked about it before. Let's talk about this. Trump, our president, says to Jerome Powell, I'll have to fire him if he's not leaving on time. I've held back firing him. I wanted to fire him, but I hate to be controversial.
Yeah. He had a show called You're Fired.
What part of that statement is not true?
I can see him saying, you're fired, just like on the TV show from the 2010 that we all watched.
Yeah. So he's threatened to fire Jerome Powell, which obviously rattles everybody's nerves, right?
Yeah.
But then you have this guy from North Carolina, Senator Thune, that says, I'm not going to vote for your nominee, Mr. Brian Wersch, right? Not to be confused with some other guy, Brian Walsh or whatever, but Brian Wersch. And so you have a stalemate. So what happens if we don't have a Federal Reserve chairman? Does the Federal Reserve still operate? Has anybody thought about that?
Have we ever had that happen in our history as a country?
We haven't had half the shit happen that's happened in the last 14 months in this country.
What are the odds, Fabio, of that happening? It's got to be. If I'm a betting man, that can't happen.
I don't know, man. It feels like it's been a lifetime, but I know it's only been 14 months, and I've never worried about the administration ever in my life. like it always just works out. I mean,
yeah.
But the antics seem to make me a little bit more nervous recently.
I agree. And I think, I don't know if those antics are good for our industry or not.
Yeah. Well, it was a slow week in the mortgage business. I do have a little bit of gossip that I can share with you.
Ooh.
So, I talk to Kleiman before our show always, because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So remember we were talking about residuals, loan officers being paid residuals.
Yep.
So Atlantic Bay has a program called PEP. I don't know what PEP stands for, okay, but it's called PEP. And they pay residuals to their loan officers. And the way they pay residuals is by taking 10 basis points from your compensation and putting that into like an annuity almost. But my question came back, well, not my question, but it came back to what you and I talked about last time, which is when Nexa Mortgage talk about paying residuals, they have to take it from somewhere.
Right.
And if you're not servicing the book of business, how do you pay that, right?
Take it out of the rates, maybe?
Something's got to give, right? So it's always, and so with Atlantic Bay, they were taking it from their compensation. So if you get 100 bips, you get 90, and 10 goes into this annuity fund that pays you a monthly residual until you're whole again. So it was interesting.
Yeah. Are you sure it wasn't a PIP? You were hearing about a PIP, PIP?
No, I've been on those before. I definitely would have brought up some memories.
Did your wife ever put you on a PIP?
She puts me on a PIP constantly.
I've been on final warning, Fabi, for about 6 years. I'm this close.
I think like I take it to the very edge, and also I change my behavior. You know what I mean? So it's like keep him around. I still need him to. I think I was good up until checks didn't need to be signed anymore, and they started Zelling stuff.
Yep.
And now my wife is really like, I don't need him. Like I can just cash checks without him or being around.
She's talking to Sammy. She's like, Sammy's like, well, we need him for the walks. That's about it. And he feeds me, but that's about it. Other than that.
I think Sammy would fight for me though. I don't know if my wife would, but I think Sammy would fight for me.
Sammy would fight for you. Let's not get that twisted.
Yeah. So I want to bring up one more thing real quick before we go.
Yeah.
Home builders' confidence fell to a 7-month low. And the builders saying it's largely attributed to the war that's going on in Iran right now.
Yeah.
Because people just don't want to sign a contract for a 6-month, 9-month down the road because they don't know what's going to happen.
I can't blame them for that hesitancy, but it's concerning. I wish they would just move ahead. But
yeah, I feel like we're kind of stuck in this whatever this thing is with Iran.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, once again, I don't have all the information to make an honest opinion on anything. But from what I've heard and from what I'm seeing, it's like, it's going to be longer than people are anticipating. Unless, of course, my countrymen can go and save everybody.
That would be, if you could make a phone call, that would be fantastic, Bobby.
They keep hanging up on me. I think my wife told them about the PIP I'm on. They're like, oh no, sorry. We're not going to handle this guy over here.
This guy is not going to help you in any way. Don't take his call.
He can't help you. He can't help himself. He can't help himself.
If you need a check signed, he's your guy. Otherwise, he's not going to be able to.
Or feed a dog, which, most Pakistanis don't even have dogs. So they always look at me like, you have a dog, like you killed your mother or something.
But you did tell me that you were driving your wife to her shopping and you were calling me in between. So you are also a good chauffeur.
Yes. Yes. She loves that. She loves being driven around.
Yep.
And so here's the other thing my wife loves. She loves me returning her stuff. Like she's really good at buying it, but she wants me to go return it.
That's 3 things. Bobby, this list is growing.
Yeah.
You are more.
I do bring in some pay every now and then also. Every now and then, like the business is good
we could go all day.
Life insurance proceeds. I don't know if that's 40 or against me.
Bobby, I got my shoes off now. I could go to 20 if I have to.
All right. Well, before you do that, let's get our guest out here because she's
put my shoes back on. Okay.
I don't think that would be appropriate if you had that on there. So let's not do that until she leaves. How's that?
Okay.
Is that fair?
So shoes back on. Okay.
All right. Well, look, I want to introduce somebody because Christine Beckwith is no stranger to our show. She's been on this show since before the show started. She was actually my very first podcast, just so you don't even know this.
What?
Yeah, way back in 2018 or 19, somewhere back there, before I was just coming with the idea of doing all this stuff together. And we met and we became buddies. She was coaching me for years, wrote the foreword to my first book, supported me when I couldn't support myself, paid my bills, made sure my wife loved me, all that kind of stuff. Christine, how are you?
Good. I'm here for marital advice.
Just in time. Coaching.
Listening to the opening. I have some tips now.
Yeah. Kiss your ass goodbye now, Fob. I will say one thing for the record, and I've never hid this from anybody. God forbid anything ever happened to my marriage, I would never do this to myself ever again.
Yeah. I'm actually the last person that should be giving marital advice. Although my current relationship is 20 years long. It's not a marriage. It's a marriage of a union of love.
Same thing.
It counts. Right. Yeah.
So Justin, guess what I did for Christine?
What? I know.
I wrote a song for Christine.
I knew it.
So we've been writing songs, Christine, for our guests that we really like.
Oh my gosh.
All right. So hang on, Christine. Here it comes. Here's your song.
While they blame the market, she's inside your head. From the mindset to the mission, every move precision. You can't fake that clarity. She got 20/20 vision. Rates high. She like, that ain't why you slow. It's the habits, not the market. That's the truth you don't show. From LO to CEO, yes, she shift the position. Turn pressure into purpose. Now you moving with intention. See it clear. No division. Level up. 20/20 vision. Oh!
All right. Now you're officially a member of the show. See?
I want it. Send it to me.
I'm getting better, Justin. Come on.
I like that guitar in the middle, that little riff, that little guitar riff there.
Yeah, I wanted to do the record, you know.
Yeah.
I like this. I think this is my new career. I'm just going to write songs for a living again.
Very creative. Very talented.
What do you think?
He's good at 6 things.
6 things. I can write songs for my wife. So anyway, listen, guys. If you don't know Christine Beckwith, I don't know where you've been in the mortgage business. I really don't. I swear to God, I don't know. She is the president and founder of 2020 Vision for Success Coaching. A gazillion years in the mortgage business. A gazillion. Seriously. Yeah. We're going back to the years of Babylon when they used to write mortgage notes on the templates, on the stone thing.
Yes, that's actually true. On the typewriter, carbon copied. Only white out if you screw up.
I don't even know, like, you run into people that have coached with you, Christine, all over the place. You know what I mean? I've coached with you for several years. I make no bones about it. Like, I don't think I would have ever gone to this level of whatever I'm doing without your pushing and encouragement all those years that I didn't know what I was going to do. And so all this thing comes back to Christine Beckwith, always does.
My pleasure. You're easy. You are easy. All it takes is somebody that wants to grow. And, you know, I get coached. So, you know, you have to have that belief that there's blind spots, right? And that accountability makes a difference. So those are really the 2 key components that we're always growing. I had great seniors. I had great elders, aunts that were librarians and teachers. And they were still, my dad, he comes to my little library office and takes books out. You know, I have a sign out board for when I do retreats. Mm-hmm. And he's my best customer. You know, I'm always on his butt that he's, you know, he owes his book back. And I'm kidding because he reads fast, but he wants to learn. Like he's curious, right? And I think that's really it. I'm not a big fan of the person that's like, you know, what could you tell me? Yeah. And I don't mean me personally, but the person with that attitude in life of like, there's something plaguing all of us. Even if you have top production, I promise you there's something behind there. Maybe the work-life balance isn't great. Maybe, service isn't wonderful. But I love having submitted myself to this leg of my career towards paying it forward, if you will, or giving it back, however you look at it. And it's kind of fun. Like, I did 32 years, a hard time. You can either compare it to jail or however you want to compare it.
Well, listen, you mentioned blind spots, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about this because 2026, what is it? April, right? April 2026. And like we were talking about before the show, we had a little dip in the rates and the rates go back up again. Loan officers are grumbling, mumbling, blah, 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 that, right? So let's talk about blind spots. If you're a loan officer that's, I don't know, decent, undecent, I don't know, whatever, you know what I mean? Taking pictures of your wife naked, whatever.
Oh, we're gonna go there. Okay, I'm with you so far. Keep going. Well, this is,
What if I said
of course
decent?
it's gonna be like this on this show for me. Of course.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, go ahead.
What's the loan officer's biggest blind spot today, do you think? What are they not seeing about their activities or lack of activities?
Well, first of all, I feel attacked when you say sending naked pictures as a wife, so I'll start there. Kidding. I think I think that loan officers, by and large, for the last 3 years, a lot of them have always known that if they worked hard, they would have a return. Hard work cannot be, understated, because there's a huge difference. And COVID put everybody into their homes. And let's face it, not everybody is a great self manager or accountable. It's hard to stay off the couch in the afternoon type of thing. So I'll start there and tell you, the drivers have been tested, because driving is not enough for this market. Hard work is not enough. And so when that is solved to a lot of problems for a lot of people, like if I'm just going to sit here, I'm going to pound the phones, I'm going to pound the pavement, I'm going to do the thing. I do think that beats the person that clearly isn't doing it, because this market is not for the sleight of heart. But I think the blind spots are coming in, and it took a really long time. When you look at Q4 of 2021, where everybody's pipelines have that first initial, cruise line hits the wall type of situation, iceberg, if you will. It took them a good 6 months, and rightfully so. They had huge pipelines. And when you have pipelines full of people that are looking for a certain rate, and then that rate dries up, and that rate's been there for 4 or 5 years, by the way, you don't immediately just go, oh yeah, it's never coming back. Of course you don't. And so 6 months later, when the LOs were like, wow, it's not coming back, and all those loans fell apart and they had to start over, it still took like another year for really good LOs to be able to stop searching their CRMs for rate watching. I still have LOs out there that are like, I'm rate watching. And I'm like, good for you. What's that like? That's like watching paint dry right now.
Isn't that like rate surfing? Like the waves come up and down and you're like all of a sudden falling off your rate board.
It's just so short-sighted. When you look at I'm going to digress for a minute and come back to the original point to make the point on I hope, a profound way. We bloated to 650,000 loan originators. And I would argue, and it's arguable because today we have under 150,000 left, 3.5 years into this rate hike. Can we say that either the most insane people are still here, the most stubborn people are still here, or it's those people that have lived through good and bad markets and they find the way, they are the people that will pivot? Well, the pivot is this. Number one, it's believability that you're going to help somebody besides lowering an interest rate. But you mentioned, before I came on, I'm in the back room, in the green room, watching you guys talk about the little hiccup in interest rate, and like what's going on with the Iranian war, and obviously Powell, being on the hot seat at the moment or on the way out. You have to believe that there's a financial upside for people in home ownership to do a refinance for more than a rate reduction. And if you're one of those 500,000 LOs that left this industry in the last 3 years, you probably are not one of those guys that believe that. You probably could not see yourself convincing a homeowner to take a 2 or 3% higher interest rate because they're cash depleted, because they've used their reserves up, because this market has lasted this long, because they're on the verge of one big life event going into delinquency, because their credit card debt and revolving debt is now through the roof. It's higher than it's been in a decade, maybe 15 years for most homeowners. And we have the solution. Man, in 07, 08, we had no equity. We could not bake the cake. We didn't have the eggs, water, or the flour. We had nothing. And today we have what it takes to fix the brokenness.
But Christine, in 08, we had a lot of inventory though. So we were digging out of the hole that we had created, that were right? But because we had tons of inventory.
07?
07, 08.
So in 07 and 08, there was a lack of demand. Okay. And that was brought on by delinquency. So we did, to answer you, yes, we had a lot of inventory,
So,
but there was a lack of there was a lack of ability to buy because of
right.
that
And the market has dried. The markets were dried up. FHA was like the only game in town for several months. I mean, there was no jumbo programs.
Yeah.
I mean,
and now there's a demand. We have tons of pre-approved buyers, by the way, that just all saw that little 10-day, glitch of lower interest rates. And I feel bad for the loan officers. I've talked to dozens, hundreds, that are in our classrooms, and they're angry now and frustrated. And I would be too, by the way, because if they were rate watching, even with the current pipelines, or they had home buyers out shopping, those people were calling in after they saw the evening news. By the way, that creates affordability. When you talk about the builders market being, unprecedentedly lower, or, the confidence being lower. Yeah, because you know what? People are like, oh, well, if it came in March for 10 days, it'll come back. Yep. And those people now are stalled. They're going to wait that market out. That slows everything down in the buyer's market. We couldn't have had a worse thing, and you couldn't have imagined a thing like it in the end of this 3 years. So this is tough. This is a mental game. And to finalize that question, I'm going to say this. You have to look at your pipelines, your databases, and you have to publicly put your social media out there for the pain that exists in home ownership, right? And you have to convince that buyer to grab that house at a very affordable price right now, because prices are not being overdriven.
Absolutely.
Right? And then I'll cure that. If the rates come down after 6 months, right? If the rates come down, I'll be your guy. I'll get you're going to get 2 mortgages out of it.
Justin, what are you seeing in Minnesota? What are you seeing? Like, you're in Minnesota, which is, I always think like this remote state with a bunch of like guys walking around with red flannel shirts and pickaxe.
Nope, I don't see them out the window. Nope, that's not what's happening.
With the crack of their ass showing. Let's just say it.
I'll answer, but I have to go back. This stuck with me when you said that hard work is not enough. That in my life, my answer, my brain was always like, I'll just work harder to get X, Y, or Z. So if I'm a loan officer that you're coaching, and I say to you, well, I'll just work harder, you'll go, no. What's your advice to me to get myself from 6 million, which I'm not used to, back to 12 or 18 million?
Yeah, I mean, number one, it's not driving harder down a dead end road. We have guys that are buying leads that aren't converting. We have guys that are banging their social drums harder, and they're still not saying the right thing. They're banging their CRMs harder and not saying the right thing. And so it's the pivot. A lot of them are just off center from hitting the bullseye. And so they just have to, they can work hard. That's going to get them there. Obviously the gas in the car and the driver matter in winning races, but so does, being on the right track, I'm going to say.
Do I have to reinvent myself? Do I have to reinvent total rebranding of Justin?
No,
or just small little knobs and twists I can make?
No, I think that the funnels need to be wider in real estate. You are not going to get the hits from whatever your size of, if you were used to doing 5 or 10 purchases a month in the spring and summer markets, and then suddenly that's dried up to 2 or 3, well, you can do the reverse engineering and math with that right now. Well, it's going to take 3 times the realtors to get you the same amount of conversion. Now, that's hard to say to people that are out there. And by the way, realtors, I'm in this boat because I built a small brokerage this past year in New England, and I'm starting in a territory. It's all interesting. I left an old branch in Massachusetts that's still with my past company, Bobby's company. So I don't want to step on those toes. My boyfriend's in the market I moved to. I don't want to step on his toes. I found this great gap area with a wonderful loan average balance. My point being is I'm out on the road and everybody's asking me, what are you doing? And I'm like, exactly what I tell everybody to do. I joined the local board. I joined committees on that board. I'm going out on Sundays to open houses with my little gift kits, and I'm making headway. I went on Redder. I hired a loan officer assistant marketing person. We built CRMs for realtors where those are thumping. By the way, I got 3 appointments yesterday for my realtor CRM. And all I'm saying, and they don't know me, I'm nobody to them. And they're just, and I'm not trying to come as Christine Beckwith, the 40-year veteran. I'm trying to come as Christine, the local mortgage expert. And people are like, why aren't you going back into executive leadership? And it's simple. the greatest, most gratifying job in all of what we do is origination. It is also the place where there isn't a lot of in between in your ROI. So what you put out, you get back. I find that very rewarding after having layers of people between me. And it's also the most lucrative job of all of the jobs that you can do. If you're a person like me who maybe wants to work a 40-hour week as I get towards 60 now, 60 to 70, I know I'm going to be great at 70. I hope still strong, and I want to just do that because that's the 6-figure job I can do for 40 hours a week with the least amount of headaches that I know well how to do. Right. And so there's not a magic thing.
I got one more question, Fabi. So I'm hearing you say
you're going to take my question. You're going to take my question time.
No. Just
you're really taking over my show.
I reclaim my time.
What the hell's going on here, man?
Christine,
I hired you as a stand-up comic, man, not as a co-host.
Work harder. I have to work harder, but work smarter. Is that what you're doing with yourself?
Yes. It has to be pointed. I would argue you don't even have to work harder. You have to find the fishing hole where the fish are. Okay. And so if we the problem is we drew from a pond that we went out there during lunch hour, filled 10 buckets full of fish. Hell, the fish were jumping in the boat for long enough. And we went home and we feasted, right? And we just feasted. Then it turned into going to that same fishing hole all day. And we hope to leave with one fish to eat that night. And it's better, I think it's better because we have caught on. We do understand the pain. And every day, by the way, if you're listening as an originator right now, every single day that people sit on those low interest rates and they're thinking about the money they saved, by the way, they're like, geez, I had a 5 or 7 or an 8. I went down to 4.5. I saved $1,000 a month, right? They're still thinking about that. They feel dumb, to move their mortgage. You're here to explain to them what is dumb is growing debt, depleting cash, and sitting on that rate. And you're not going to say it like that, but it's silly for them. You want to make them not feel dumb to call you for a free mortgage analysis. Because, by the way, we are going to be the champions of curing what is the future delinquency that is rising because we understand this. And we get aggressive in our approach marketing wise. And that's what I'm doing. I picked up 4 refis in my first 2 weeks of my online marketing. I am now saying to everybody, and it was confusing and it's hard because I have a brand and I don't want to pollute the brand. I don't want to be one of those people that are like, well, what the hell is she doing? She's this, she's that, but there's no way forward other than for me to have just come out and let the chips fall where they lay with the confusion. I've recently done a bunch of podcasts like this and interviews so people can watch it and figure out what I'm thinking. But I say plagiarize my ads because they're going to be the best there are in the industry. And I'm going to brag about them. Like they are good. My ads for refinances that I have going on my personal Facebook page, please, everybody go plagiarize them. Take the picture, throw it in your chat GPT. Let somebody create
last time somebody plagiarized your Facebook page, you had some guy like asking for donations using your picture. Remember those a couple years ago?
That's catfishing. That's different.
Okay, I'm just saying, be careful when you invite people to your Facebook page. Let's not do that. Let me ask you a question. Wrong activities versus not enough activities. What's more like detrimental to a loan officer?
I would say anything that you do not put your back into, you're not going to get the return. Hard work is a component. It's just not the whole answer right now. This market's not coming to us, so I can assure you, I understand, 5 years we got conditioned. I don't think we could. I always use the Laverne and Shirley assembly line, that famous commercial where, I know you're going to want to enter the clip into this podcast where they're like trying to take the bottles off the assembly line and then it just starts piling up. That's what we were doing for 5 years. Mm-hmm. The phones were ringing. We couldn't keep up. I mean, we were hired over and over again to help businesses scale appropriately and help them service appropriately in what I would call, just the tsunami of refis that were going on. And so to go from that conditioning where you're leaving your desk just to catch your breath.
All right, let me get one more specific. I want to get specific on this one.
Okay.
Just hit me. What's one activity that you would tell your loan officer, stop doing this? Like you're wasting your effing time. You're not going to get anything from here.
No, I think anyone that's rate watching.
Okay. I love
like,
that.
I'm going to say this.
Love that.
I understand why you are, because you have a mountain database. It's the biggest database you've got that are in those lower rates. But here's the news. The rates are not going to be lower than they were before. They're never going to be there. I predict this. Please, I hope this clip comes out and I'm wrong. But I'm telling you, I saw those rates for the first time in 34 years when we hit that low. Now, I don't know what it was like the 40 years before I came. And I don't know what it's going to be like the 40 years after I leave. But I assure you it was a one and done moment.
Think about what led to that moment. And by the way, I get asked this question a lot of times. You go to barbecues, you go to these things, and people are there, and I call them civilians, right? And they ask you this question like, when's the rate going to get low again? This is what I tell them, Christine. The next time we have another like COVID,
right?
Do you want another COVID moment in your life? I don't, right? But that's what it would require in order for the rates to go back to that 2%, 2.5% that people are demanding or wishing for or whatever.
I mean, you'd have to go back through all of the Secretary of Treasuries to understand, Greenspan was aggressive in his lowering of interest rates. And I lived through those years, man. I love that man. I could have proposed to him. Like when I tell you, he made me so much money, all of us, because every other day it was this or this or this. Obama did an attempt to infuse the market, not far into his tenure. He dropped FHA's MIP by 0.75%. It flooded the market with 40% increase in volume overnight and lengthened all our service times. Then you get Yellen, right? And she's not Greenspan. And she definitely did not want to be as aggressive as Greenspan. I think, when you think of Trump, and I don't want to get political, but when you think of Trump, he's a real estate developer. He's an investor. Like, who better than him to help us with this market? He understands real estate investment. However, we've learned the hard way, he does not control the Secretary of Treasury. So guess what? He's going to find someone that he can't. And I think he's on the right path with wanting, doing certain things. We needed a lot of cleanup. There's a lot of controversial things I could say that I know I see on social that are battled in the political arena. I don't want to do that on this podcast. What I want to tell you is there are a lot of economic short-term hardship things that he did for long-term gain that I believe in. Tariffs being one of them, by the way. And so I will say this. We're in a war. And that killed that 10-day refi boom of 2026. I think the sooner we stabilize so that we understand where our oil is coming from, gas prices come back in line, inflation can be controlled again, importing can be regulated. It is not, that feels like a mountain away. None of that is a mountain away. Like we could wake up tomorrow and the Iranian war could be done.
When you talk about a refi boom, I mean, I wrote an article about this when Mr. Cooper merged with whatever Rocket or whatever that happened, right? I wrote a whole article about this, that there's no refi boom coming because the servicing lenders are not going to let the average loan officer take out their retention pool. I mean, you have Rocket doing 80% retention, Mr. Cooper about 60% retention. Other lenders are catching on with all the AI and algorithm that they're able to now deploy, right? Anybody, and I love what you said. Like the wrong thing is for the loan officer to sit around staring at the rate, thinking, "Oh my God, I'm going to have this rate marked at 5.25, and then I'm going to call." It's like by the time it gets to 5.25,
it's too late.
Your servicing lender's already taken that loan app, and they're halfway to closing because they knocked the fees off by 80%.
The game has changed. The game has changed.
And I really believe that this refi boom, this thing that people say, it's not coming. There's no refi boom coming.
I want to jump in.
The only thing go ahead.
I just want to say one thing. I think the game has changed, Fab, and I think that, and Christine, to your point, if I want to be a rate watching LO, even though you're saying I shouldn't be, if I want to be that person, I can be that person, but I have to be making those outbound calls saying, "Hey, I'm watching rates for you, Mr. Homeowner. When they get to where they should get to, I'll be the first person to let you know. Meanwhile, if you have any debt consolidation, any kids going to college, I'm here for that stuff too. So I'm here for all things refinance, but I'm watching stuff for you. Have a nice day." And that's that proactiveness.
I think it's that.
Yes. Answer the phone. Justin.
No, we do. We do. I think it's what you just said, but I think it's like, I'm going to watch the rate for you because that's, how consumers are leading the question. Can you beat this rate?
Yep.
The number one thing is, can you take that conversation from what they're asking? What they're asking is can you save me money?
Yep.
Yeah.
What are they asking? Let's break this down.
Exactly.
When somebody says, I have 3.5, because it's not about the rate. It's about what the effects from them thinking, if I get a lower rate, I have a lower payment.
Yep.
Well, their mortgage payment is one aspect of their financial, health. What does their other debt look like? What did it look like when they refied? What did it look like before they refied last? What does it look like today? Do they still have 2 people employed? Because that's been an impacted place. All of those.
Now. You have a big HELOC now at 9%.
All of those things. And so you kind of take the question from, has anyone done a financial health check on your total situation, even given current good interest rates? Because you might be surprised, and you're going to get some hard old schoolers that are like, no, because they think you're selling them a bill of goods. I challenge those guys. I love that, by the way. I'm like, I always answer it with Jess, like, you're feisty. Like, okay, let me talk to you.
No.
What is that? What is that about? Like, why not? Like, why? Like, why are you? Why are you like stuck on that rate?
So you're loan officers right now for 2020 Vision, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously you have a whole school behind this. So it's not like you're just speaking shit out of your ass and you got people who are following you and doing what you're doing.
Yes. Yes.
What are the results that they're reporting back? Are they saying, hey, Christine, it worked? What you told me?
100%.
Yeah. So let's talk about
Tom Bickett at Annie Mac in your company. You go talk to him. And I'm going to tell you something. This is how sharp my memory still is.
She's pointing her pen at us. Oh, God.
I'm not going to be in the old folks home anytime soon. Tom Bickett in January of 2022 was the first guy who, when I said, the quicker you pivot and begin doing videos that speak to increased pain for the consumer, the faster you're going to increase your refi pool again. And it can't be a rate-driven conversation. Well, Tom was curious. He wasn't a believer. And he's come on some of my live classes to say, I don't know if I believed her in the beginning. Mm-hmm. But he said, I'll try anything because nothing was working. And so he started to put out videos and he said, hey, everybody that I've done loans for, I'm not watching for better rates. I'm watching your LTV. And if you've got equity and debt, if you've got equity and no reserves, I'm going to call you to talk about whether it makes sense or not to just get to a current interest rate, get rid of all that high revolving debt, get some cash in your pocket. Because remember this, nobody's in the position they were in coming into that market because of the debt position, the DTI they're in, because of the cash reserve position that has fallen. And some of them are slow paying on their credit. They're not delinquent yet, but they're slow paying. Mm-hmm. And so here's the thing. If tomorrow the interest rates drop, the bottom fell out, everybody could get a really unbelievable low interest rate. A lot of them are not going to qualify.
Yeah.
A lot of them are not going to be able to get that lowest interest rate. You know why? Because they're presenting a higher risk position. So why shouldn't we as an industry go in and clean them up and get them ready? And by the way, I want to talk about the difference.
Nobody's saying that. What you just said right there. Nobody's saying that.
And it's like, it's the game changer.
Yeah.
I want to finish by saying this.
Sorry, go ahead.
If the difference between that rate they think they want, like say they think it's 4 or 4.5%, and we're offering 5.5 to 6. If you look at the difference of their payment, in some instances, $200-300. In some instances, sometimes it's more, $400 or $500. If you said to them, if I clean you up and I put money in because you have equity and I get rid of all that debt and I clean you up, now your DTI is low, you have cash reserves, you're breathing again, you're fast paying your bills again. Mm-hmm. When that rate goes low, you look so much better to grab the lowest possible rate. Because if they don't do that, they could end up with 1% higher interest rate for the risk position, right? Now they're actually hurting their future savings. And so when you calculate the difference between those 2 points, it's silly.
Yeah. I mean, that's brilliant. This is the conversation that needs to be happening right now. And I don't believe this conversation occurs as often as this industry needs. because everyone's talking about, well, just make more phone calls, do this, do social media. Work harder. And it's like, no, it's got to be the right activities with the right conversations.
Can I also say on a purchase front, when people are like, nothing's moving and I shouldn't be doing that, and how do you get realtors today? I've had so much pushback that I was like, I'm a little bit away from originating for a while now, and the front line, other than my coaching clients, which are the front line. And you do get to a point with a coach where you're telling them what you have always known will work. It's been awesome for me to go do it, because people, I've said for years, Youssef at Annie Mac, I was there when he became a brand new, never before ever originated loan officer. I was the first manager for Kevin and Landy there that came in, and those guys were doing like 13, 20 units a month. They were like, we can't wait to break 40. I remember them hitting that milestone. Forget about where they are today. It's crazy. But he did it doing open houses. And I always knew that was a way to get in. Well, so I've been going through the door of these open houses with my I built these little teacup kits with honey and tea and whatever. It's cute. So I'm going to the open houses, and I'm saying,
did you say honey?
Honey.
She said honey.
Justin. Justin.
Here we go.
I can't believe you said honey.
Oh, I can.
No idea what you just did. Why would you say honey?
He doesn't know the backstory, but that's okay. Keep going. Teacup.
I want to know it before I leave, though. No, the end of this is just, I'm going in saying, I got my business cards. I got 5 business cards in this bag. They're clipped together. I have a card on top of the business cards, and it says, help me create a buzz, right? And on the back of that, it says, don't throw these away, right? Now, listen, when I go out, because it's intentional, and when I go out, and it's much easier at this age to go out, because I'm like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Like, is this guy going to like reject me? Like, I'm not 21 anymore. And what's happening is I'm like, I just want to be your number 2 guy. And he's going, well, what if I want to make you my number 1 person? And I'm like, well, that would be great.
You should say, I don't have time. You should say, I don't have time to be number 1. I don't have time. This is a reverse psychology with the sons of bitches.
So
I had this really very good looking older Latino gentleman who does a ton of business. And I went to his open house and I could feel his vibe. I felt it was not warm. And he was just like, I got a person. They've been my person 20 years. I said, great. So we got to figure out how we can help each other. I said, because here's the thing. I have like 300,000 followers on social media. I'll share your listings. Okay. That's something I can do for you. And I immediately am connecting with these people when I go to their open houses, and I'm sharing their listings. I'm commenting on their listings so that all my influence goes to them. And that's currency, in my opinion, right? That I can give them. And I said, well, if it's not me, what other realtor are you going to be working with that doesn't have a lender that you could say, I know a person? Because I don't want to share my lender. But I said, I'm going to tell you something. At some point, some night, some weekend, sometime, that 20-year-old veteran of yours is not going to pick up the phone. And I'm going to be here. I'm going to be there waiting and ready for when that happens. And so I have a very joking way of doing things. So you wouldn't think I would go back with the same gift. Well, sure enough, 2 weeks later, he had another house. And my new marketing LOA said, you probably shouldn't go back there. You've already, to a different house, like you've already hit him. He's already said he's got a lender. I said, that's exactly why I'm going back. So I went back in the house and he smiles. Now he's happy to see me, right? Totally different vibe, because I had this like fun, thing with him. And I had another bag and he goes, it is the same gift. I said, have you ever seen a single teacup set? I'm like, no, it's a second teacup. Now you can have it with your wife. I said, tell me about this house. Change the subject, and we started talking about the house, and I asked him some market questions. That morning I said, if I see people I've seen before, I got to continue this conversation. Can't be the same as it was before. So I digress, but I'm telling you, it isn't brain surgery. It's activity. It's face-to-face. It's get out of behind your desk.
But how do you control them when they're not, like, my biggest thing is, and Justin, maybe you can help me here. Like the loan officers that work on my team, I'm not with them 24/7. Right? You're not with your clients 24/7, Buffy, right? And Justin, You're not with your loan officers 24/7, right? So we tell them what to do. We give them the scripts. We give them all the phone numbers that they're supposed to have, all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
But what if they just like don't believe in it? Like, and they're like, Fob, it's just not going to work. No matter what I do.
That's where I start. with everything with coaching is believability. That is so funny that you're saying this. I get in front of my national sales force that's coaching with me on Tuesdays at 11:30 in the high performance call that we do for 30 minutes. And I repeat myself to a nauseum. I say, remember, nothing I'm going to teach you, nothing, no class you're going to sit in this week, nothing you're going to read in any of your social platforms, no conference you're going to go to, no leadership meeting, no sales leadership meeting that you're going to go into. Nothing is going to make our tactical lessons effective if you do not believe they work. Because the sword is not why sword fights are won. They're won by the people who wield them, because they master their craft and they go in with a fight where they believe they have a possibility of winning. And you know what? I would not pick that sword up for 1 minute. I'd collect them and let them collect dust and say I'm a sword collector, but I would never say that I'm a fencer and I can do this job. And so the difference with good mortgage originators and bad is that they work on, as an executive leader, I can remember even at Annie Mac, them rolling out some technology at some point. And our loan officers retired. They were working in a hard market at the time. And I just didn't feel the timing was right. And they said, no, we're going to market with this. You've got to roll it out. And so I had no choice. This was a command that was being given to me. And I went home and I said, I'm not going to be convincing because I don't believe in the timing. I relate more to my loan officers right now than I did to the high end. And senior leadership is about sitting in the middle, right? And so I said, I got to look at this. I got to look at this technology. So I got trained on it. I started looking at it. And then I had these epiphanies like, oh my God, you could increase. And I could see where that would benefit you. And I worked at it. And within like 7 to 10 days, I had gotten to a point where I was like, okay, I believe this could increase your business by 40%. And here's why, but it's only going to work if you use it. And I went out with this thing. And by then I could go guns blazing and they got behind me. But I understood at that point in my age, career, and life, and I know this to be true today, that nothing we do is going to connect unless people are believable. It's the Rudy story. If you've ever seen that movie, when he stands in the locker room and he gives that speech and he's like been practicing and he's the shortest little football player. He made everybody around him believe in his dream, right? To the point when he ran on the field, it makes my hair stand on end telling you it now. Because I've experienced those feelings in my own life, trying to get to college and growing up poor and having not it all riding on scholarship night my senior year. It came down to 31 scholarships. I won 13 of them. And every time I got one, the entire auditorium went to their feet. I grew up poor in a rich area, and I had that Rudy effect. Like I was going to get to college, and, I got everybody behind me in doing that. And everybody knew it was the only way I was going to get there. And I had the teachers behind me, and I had my peers behind me, and I had the audience, and those are the moments in my life I write about in my books. It's why I'm passionate about what I do, because I've already conquered mountains people said you could not do. And listen, my life is not perfect. I'm going to say losing my sister 3 years ago took me to my knees, right? In a very tragic way. And this market's tough. Leading in this market's tough. There's days where I don't know that I have the believability, right, to come and do those things. So now I want to go back and I want to ask what the honey thing is about.
Well,
can I share?
Well,
yes.
So
go ahead.
Wait, is it rated R or is
no,
it?
No, it's
hold on. I think this is going to be more appropriate, so we can.
Don't. I want to tell.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
Yeah, this one's for my homie J. Neal, you dig it? When the snow hits the ground, he's throwing frisbees for show. Then hits the comedy stage and puts on a dope show. Got jars of that sweet honey stacked up wall to wall. Honey stacked up wall to wall. That's my homie J. Neal, stands up tall. Yeah, that's my homie J. Neal.
Let me tell you, you're on the right path. I love that.
We went through some tough times, and my CEO makes honey on the side, and he was paying me my override in honey for a while. So I was on an all honey diet.
Spread the wealth. Go out with your honey.
Well, look, we're coming to the end here, but I got to share something that just came across my email, and I've never done this before. It's kind of interesting. So it's kind of interesting. So guys, Last Underneath has finally cracked the top 5 on FeedSpot.
Yay! I was here.
Yes.
Dude, how is this even possible?
We literally went from number 7 to number 5, and I've been trying to crack the top 5 for at least the last 24 months. I'm like,
dude, I'm gonna push you into 3. We're
literally
3
number
now.
5 right now.
You know what the difference maker is, Fabi?
Christine Beckwith on the show.
It's these two. It's Laverne and Shirley right here.
I don't know, but it was like
how poignant of timing.
I know. I was like, hold on, we finally did it. Like I felt like it's like that relief. Like, thank God, like I can just relax now. I don't have to do that.
Can we talk about the day you recorded Barry Habib and didn't record Barry Habib?
No, too soon, Christine. No.
How many times are like? But the funny thing is, so when Barry and I were having lunch at the Vision Summit, like I don't know, 2021, I can't remember what the year was, right? And I said to Barry, Barry, if I'd actually hit that record button, it'd have been a 30-day event. But because I fucked up and I didn't record you, it's become a lifelong story of mine that I'm going to be able to share forever.
True.
1,000%. But in that moment, dude, because I had been with Fabi, I'm going to create a podcast and, I'm doing it and I'm going, and then he was doing it. And then he's like, I got Barry Habib. And I'm like, great. And then all of a sudden my phone's blowing up at my desk. And I'm like, what's up? And he's like, Fabi. I'm like, what? It was like someone died. He goes, I just did an amazing podcast with him, and legitimately with Barry, and legitimately he says, I didn't hit record. And I'm like, oh, I felt that in my core. And I'm like, and you're looking for me to cheer you up and give you advice. I'm like, Bobby, it's going to be okay. Don't tell him. Let's not tell him today. I'm like,
that's exactly what she said. She said, don't tell him today.
I said, not today. I said, we need to sit on this and get ourselves to a good place. We'll figure this out.
That's how I felt.
No, I can't. Oh, I know why. Because Jamie Kavanaugh and I were going live for the first time on Facebook, which is out today. And Candy was pushing it out behind us. And Jamie said, for God's sakes, don't forget to hit the record button. And I said, ask Fabi Nagme about it.
But it was weird. Like Barry was such a good sport about it. He never got angry about it. He never said, I'll never come back. Like, and this is the kind of stuff that I think people don't understand about the biggest names in our industry are the most generous and most gracious people that I've met.
I'm sure he felt your pain in that moment. Yeah, and look at you now. I always say we're going to live past we live past our stuff that happens, and the good souls get to fight another day. And there's been many times.
We finally hit number 5, Buffy.
Dude, I'm not surprised, by the way. You're super talented. Dude, this guy seems funny as shit. I haven't let him get a word in edgewise today, but
funny, man. You got any jokes for us? Anything new?
That's not my contract. I got to be paid for that. That's extra.
Hey, so I got a joke. All right. So when a guy falls overboard on a boat, what do they say?
Man overboard.
Man overboard.
Man overboard. Yeah.
Now, when a woman falls overboard, what do they say?
Man overboard.
Woman overboard.
Full speed ahead.
Oh. And there goes number 5. We're slipped to number 7 again. Just lost all our female viewers.
Yeah, we just lost all our female followers.
And now you're being sued.
Very, very funny.
Yeah, people are picketing outside your studio.
I heard that joke. I said, I'm keeping that joke. I'm going to keep that one around for a while.
That's a good one.
Look, we're coming up to the end here, Buffy. It was amazing having you on the show. It's been too long. I don't know when the last time you were on here. We did that live thing. I think I made you cry. And after that, I was like, I'm not going to mess with her anymore.
No, this was fun, funny, informative,
Yes. Well, I think it was needed. I think this is a very timely conversation. I hope people hear you. I mean, I hope they hear. I mean, we're going to make sure we get this promoted, but I hope they really hear you that they got to stop bullshitting their clients. Yeah. They got to be honest. Yeah. Just lay it down. Whatever it is, it is. You know what I mean? And move on.
Yep. That's it.
So, all right, guys. Well, look, hang tight. Don't go anywhere. We're going to do this outro, then we're going to be right back. Hang tight. See y'all.
Talking leadership, making a big plays in the mortgage game through the sun and the haze. Close more deals, build your success. Time to level up and beat the stress. Get ready to laugh, land and eat. Your weekly scene. Let's go.